CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 30th of March and here is the GB2RS news broadcast, which was prepared for you by the RSGB for all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on our website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that we may mention in this broadcast. This week's news headlines: have your chance to ask the board a question during the RSGB's annual general meeting. We have published new forms which allow you to ask queries about exam questions. And the April Tonight at 8 webinar is all about using a glue stick in a homemade 40-metre receiver. We'll have more on those items shortly. But first, do you have a question about our strategy? Perhaps you have a query about recent licence changes, or maybe you'd like to understand more about membership growth. Whatever the topic, we are asking you to get in touch. RSGB board members will be available to answer your questions during the RSGB's 2025 annual general meeting, which is on Saturday the 12th of April. You can send in your question in three ways. You can do it via Zoom live, or you can send in a written question in advance, or you can ask a question during the live chat session on the day. Now, if you'd like to ask a question about the formal part of the AGM, you'll need to do that via Zoom, or you can submit a written question in advance. But please do use this great opportunity to discuss what matters to you, because your participation in the annual general meeting is important and we do look forward to hearing from you. To find out more about how to be involved and the deadlines for you submitting questions, go to rsgb.org/AGM. That's Alpha Golf Mike. Now, as part of our modernisation of the exam system, we've introduced online forms which allow you to report possible errors in exam questions. These forms replace the current procedure of writing to the exam department. Our RSGB Exam Standards Chair, Tony Kent, Golf 8 Papa Bravo Hotel, explained that there are two forms. The first is only for exam candidates to submit, and it's used to formally challenge questions in actual exams where the outcome of a challenge may affect a candidate's result. The second form is for everyone, and it's for informal queries of published exam questions, for example in mock exams. Now, you must use a separate form for each question that you challenge. And also please do check carefully that you're using the correct form, otherwise it may delay the process. The RSGB Examinations and Syllabus Review Group will look at your comments and they'll let you know the outcome. For more information and to find the forms, go to rsgb.org/exam-challenges. The next webinar in our Tonight at 8 series will be with Nick Wood, Mike 0 November Tango Victor, and that's on Monday the 7th of April. In this edition, Nick will show you how to use a regular glue stick housing in a rather novel way. That's to form the basis of a variable tuning inductor in a homemade 40-metre receiver. After a brief description of a direct conversion receiver and a short technical explanation of how it works, Nick will delve into 4 separate modules. And at the end of the webinar, he'll string it all together and you'll be able to see some video footage of how it sounds and what it can do. To find out more, visit rsgb.org/webinars. And you can join the presentation live on the RSGB's YouTube channel or special BATC channel, and you can ask questions live during the chat itself. Now we're delighted to announce that Chris Aitken, Mike 0 Whiskey India Charlie, who is the current RSGB Youth Champion for schools, is taking on the new position of RSGB Youth Chair. For now, Chris will continue to fulfil his Youth Champion for schools role, but he'll also take on more responsibilities by leading the Youth Champion team. Chris will work closely with the Board Liaison for Youth and the IARU Youth Contacts to help attract more UK youngsters to amateur radio. You can find out more about the youth activities by going to rsgb.org/youth. If you live in Region 9, which encompasses London and the Thames Valley, then why not support fellow radio amateurs in your area? There are a number of volunteer vacancies within the region, including several district representative positions, as well as the regional representative role. If you're passionate about amateur radio, and if you enjoy talking with people and want to give something back to the hobby, then please do get in touch. Go to rsgb.org/volunteers, and there you can find out more. And if you like what you see and want to be involved, then you can email the Regional Forum Chair. That's Keith Bird, Golf 4 Juliet Echo Delta. Keith's email address is rr10 for Regional Representative 10 or Region Representative 10 at rsgb.org.uk. So I'll repeat that phonetically. It's Romeo 10 at Romeo Sierra Golf Bravo.org.uk. SOS Radio Week is an annual event that celebrates the invaluable life-saving work of the volunteers of the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, as well as the National Coast Watch Institute and the independent lifeboats around the coasts of the British Isles and the Channel Islands. This year the event starts at 0000 UTC on the 1st of May and finishes at midnight UTC on the 31st of May. SOS Radio Week stations can be run by individuals or groups, and you can do that from home or at a special location. In order to register, go to SOS Radio Week, that's all one word, sosradioweek.org.uk. Now we have news of this year's Mills on the Air weekend, which is on the weekend of the 10th and the 11th of May, and you can find out more at tinyurl.com/Mills on the Air, and Mills on the Air is all one word, or you can search for Mills on the Air on Facebook. Now just a reminder to please send details of all your news and events to our editorial team. Their email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk, and the deadline for your submissions is 10 a.m. prior to 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the Sunday news broadcasts each week. Well, now we have details of rallies and events. The Hack Green Military Surplus and Military Radio Hangar Sale is on Sunday the 6th of April, and that's being held at the Hack Green Secret Nuclear Bunker, which is in Nantwich, Cheshire. And the postcode for your sat-nav is Charlie Whiskey 5 8 Alpha Lima. Items on sale will include electronic equipment, amateur radio gear, components, military radio items and vehicle spares. And if you need more details, you can visit the event website, which is Hack Green, that's all one word, hackgreen.co.uk, or you can email Cold War, that's all one word as well, coldwar@hackgreen.co.uk. Next we have news of the Yeovil Amateur Radio Club's QRP convention, which is due on the Saturday the 12th of April, and that's being held at Digby Hall in Sherborne, Dorset. The doors will open at 9:30 a.m. and the convention will feature traders, a bring and buy area, club stalls and a cafe. If you're after more information, then you can visit the club's website, which is yeovil-arc.com. That's Yankee Echo Oscar Victor India Lima alpharomeocharlie.com. And now we move across to the special event news. The Royal Air Force Amateur Radio Society, or RAFARS, will hold its popular Airfields on the Air special event activity from the 1st of April. RAF stations will be on the air mainly on the 5th and 6th of April, as well as the 12th and 13th of April. And for details you can visit the event website, which I'll spell phonetically for you. It's Romeo Alpha Foxtrot Alpha Romeo Sierra dot Oscar Romeo Golf / Romeo Alpha Foxtrot Alpha Oscar Tango Alpha. And now we have news of the Polish Amateur Radio Union, who will be celebrating their 95th anniversary this year, as well as the centenary of the International Amateur Radio Union. To mark these occasions, they will have 10 special event stations on the air between the 11th and the 25th of April. And you can find details of the event, as well as details of awards that you can win, at hamaward.cloud. And I'll spell that for you phonetically. That's Hotel Alpha Mike Alpha Whiskey Alpha Romeo Delta dot Charlie Lima Oscar Uniform Delta. Well, that's all for the special event news. We now move across to the DX news. Alex, Kilo 6 Victor Hotel Foxtrot / Hotel Romeo 9 will be active from the 30th of March until the 6th of April, and he'll be operating from Roatan Island, which is IOTA reference November Alpha 057. He'll be active on 80 metres to 6 metres, and he'll be using a range of antennas. They are verticals, a hex beam, slopers and a delta loop. And he'll be active on FT8, FT4, SSB, RTTY and Morse code. You can QSL direct via Kilo 6 Victor Hotel Foxtrot, as well as OQRS Club Log and Logbook of the World. Next we have news of Aldir, Papa Yankee 1 Sierra Alpha Delta, who'll be active from Georgetown in Guyana. He'll be using call sign 8 Romeo 1 Tango Mike, and he'll be active until the 26th of April. He'll be active on all bands using Morse code SSB digital, and he'll also be active on the QO100 satellite. You can QSL via EQSL and Logbook of the World. And now we move across to the contest news. The CQ Worldwide WPX SSB contest started at 0000 UTC yesterday, Saturday the 29th of March, and it ends at midnight UTC today, Sunday the 30th of March. Using SSB on the 160 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. The 144 MHz FM activity contest is on Tuesday the 1st of April, and it runs from 1800 to 1855 UTC. Using FM on the 2 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Also on Tuesday the 1st of April, it's the 144 MHz UK activity contest, which runs from 1900 to 2130 UTC. Using all modes on the 2 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Wednesday the 2nd of April, we have the 144 MHz FT8 activity 4-hour contest, and that runs from 1700 to 2100 UTC. This contest uses FT8 on the 2 metre band, and the exchange is your signal report and 4-character locator. Well, within that contest, we also have the 2-hour contest. So that's the 144 MHz FT8 activity 2-hour contest on Wednesday the 2nd of April. And that runs from 1900 to 2100 UTC. Also using FT8 on the 2 metre band, the exchange's report and 4-character locator. And if you entered the 4-hour contest, then you can also enter the 2-hour contest and put in 2 entries. The UK and Ireland Contest Club's 80-metre contest is on Wednesday the 2nd of April, and it runs from 2000 to 2100 UTC. This contest uses SSB on the 80-metre band, and the exchange is your 6-character locator. Then we have the FT4 International Activity Day, which starts at 1200 UTC on Saturday the 5th of April, and this ends at 1200 UTC on Sunday the 6th of April. This contest uses FT8 on the 160 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, and the exchange is your signal report. And finally, we have the Polish DX contest, also known as the SP-DX contest, and this starts at 1500 UTC on Saturday the 5th of April, and that runs until 1500 UTC on Sunday the 6th of April. This contest uses Morse code and SSB on the 160 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, and the exchange is your signal report and serial number, and Polish stations will also send their province code. Well, now we move across to the HF propagation report. This was compiled by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 27th of March. Last week's space weather was dominated by a large coronal hole on the Sun, and this was one of the largest that we've seen. We saw moderate G2 geomagnetic storming, followed by the arrival of a solar wind with speeds exceeding 600 kilometers per second on Wednesday the 26th. This raised the KP index to 6.33, which pushed the maximum usable frequency down slightly. Luckily, the daytime maximum usable frequency over 3,000 kilometers mostly remained above 28 MHz, but it was slow to rise on Thursday the 27th when it took until 0900 UTC to reach 28 MHz. Now, at the time of writing, the solar wind speed has been over 800 kilometers per second, so we do predict more disruption until at least Saturday the 29th. Meanwhile, the solar index or the solar flux index fell to 152 by Thursday the 27th, with only 4 small sunspot regions visible. CDXC members have been discussing working New Zealand in the morning, which is at sunset in New Zealand, and this has often been possible using low power. So listen and look for Zulu Lima 4 Oscar Lima and Zulu Lima 2 Charlie Charlie, usually on FT8, but if conditions allow they may be on Morse code or SSB. As to the best bands to use, try 20 meters or 40 meters, which seem to be the favourites, and also consider using the VARAC data mode, because VARAC seems quite popular in New Zealand as well. Now, next week, NOAA predicts that the solar flux index will rise to 180 by the 4th of April. However, unsettled geomagnetic conditions are forecast again, and from the 3rd of April, the KP index may reach 6, and this could be the start of at least 10 days of disruption to HF propagation. Well, that's all for the HF forecast. We now move across to the VHF and up propagation news, and this was compiled by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. The coming week will be dominated by high pressure, so Tropo should be available as a good mode for VHF bands. There can be strong temperature inversions in regions of large, well-developed high pressure. The best performance will usually be around the edges of the high, where the height of the inversion and ducting layer is typically between 0.5 and 2 kilometers above ground, and this can provide excellent DX prospects. Occasionally, a shallow ducting layer can form near the ground overnight, but this often disperses by mid-morning. If you are in a good inversion region, try SSB or CW on the VHF or UHF bands. Paths of up to 1,500 kilometers can often be achieved from a good tropo lift. The reverse side of the high pressure systems is that we will have low pressure nearby, and this is mainly to the north and west of the UK. Any potential for rain scatter will mainly be over northwestern Britain, although an active front that was moving south on Friday the 28th of March was a good candidate for rain scatter on the gigahertz bands. Prospects for meteor scatter largely depend upon random meteors, which are usually best in the hours before dawn. And solar activity will continue to trigger auroral alerts in the coming week. Now we move on to sporadic E, and last week we had a few out-of-season isolated sporadic E blips in the F0 layer between 5 to 7 megahertz, and this was enough to produce propagation on 10 meters and 6 meters, albeit very briefly. There have already been some equinox-related 6-meter transequatorial propagation, or TEP, openings, which have been workable from the southern part of the UK. So do keep an eye open late morning for Africa and late afternoon for South America. For moon bounce operators, EME path losses continue to improve until perigee this morning, the 30th of March. Moon declination reached its minimum last Friday the 28th, and moon windows will increase throughout the coming week. 144 MHz sky noise is low, apart from yesterday when the sun was close to the moon in the sky during the eclipse, and the sky noise will rise to moderate by next Thursday before dropping back to a low for the weekend. And that's all from the propagation team this week. And that's all for this week's GB2RS News broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mepershall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, and we represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, then please email it to us as far in advance as possible, and we'll be happy to include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS News broadcast, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send it to our editorial team, whose email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. Now, if your news items are time sensitive, then it's important that you send them to us by 10 a.m. on the Thursday before our news broadcasts. The RSGB retains copyright over all material transmitted, and you can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. You can also download the full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS News team. We hope you have a lovely Sunday evening and a great week ahead. This is Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mepershall, Bedfordshire. I'll now move over to the commemorative call sign Golf 5 Mike Hotel Zulu, and I'll first listen for news stations who didn't call in before the news. So if you did call in before the news, no need to call in just now. I'll add news stations to the list, and then I'll call you in up in turn, or I'll call you all up in turn. So this is Golf 5 Mike Hotel Zulu, now listening for any new calls.